Hello, election judges. I'm Mike Stolberger, Director of Elections for Blue Earth County. You're about to start your next sequence of videos. These videos are on our equipment that we'll be using in the polling places on Election Day, and I want to spend just a couple of minutes here introducing you to that equipment before we orientate you to the equipment and the different pieces of them, and then we'll actually demonstrate how to use them in some later videos. So let me switch over to the slides now. Alright, as I said, we're going to spend just a couple of minutes here introducing you to the equipment, and then we'll spend a little bit of time talking about how we'll take care of the equipment and our voters and our election judges in response to the pandemic. You are now into this next phase of the training. We have two separate sets of videos here on equipment. The first set is a series of short videos tied to the introduction to the equipment and just orientating you to the equipment, and then we'll spend more time actually talking about how to use the equipment. Remember, you can attend the optional capstone session if you want to actually come in and try the equipment out yourself or ask any questions in person. So the three pieces of equipment that you'll be familiar with on Election Day is the poll pad, which is our electronic roster to check in and register voters, the DS200, which is our tabulator. It counts the ballots after the voters have filled in the ovals, and then the Omni ballot, and that is our assisted voting device for our voters. Anybody can use that. However, it does help read a ballot, mark a ballot, and display ballots in different fonts and sizes and contrast for folks that might have visual impairments. So as I mentioned, you'll get additional training to help you understand how to set up all of this equipment, how to pack it back up at the end of the night, and how to operate it on Election Day. Those will all be separate videos as we move through the rest of this series. I mentioned earlier that I wanted to talk about COVID-19 and how we're going to use the equipment in response to the pandemic. As I've mentioned before, the guidance that we receive from our health partners and professionals changes quite regularly, so use whatever information is available on Election Day and in the training programs as you complete them. Some of the things that we're going to make sure that we do specific to the equipment is that we only use the approved wipes that will be provided to clean the screens and displays. We're going to make sure that the other surfaces, the tables and whatnot, are wiped down using the disinfectant spray, but we do that very carefully. We want to make sure that if hand sanitizer is being used, which it should be, we want to make sure hands are dry before we're touching ballots or touching any of the components of the equipment. And then we also want to make sure that if we are using the stylus, that we're wiping that down after individuals' uses. And then also remember, as election judges, if you're changing roles on Election Day, that you're cleaning the equipment and sanitizing it before you'd switch, for example, between the poll pads. Here are some common questions. You're going to learn a lot more about the equipment in the next series of videos, so these are just some very basic questions for you. Can you practice on the equipment? Absolutely. The poll pads and the Omni ballot are available for practice. There's really not much to practice on the DS200 tabulator, so either attend the capstone session, again that's optional, or come in and visit us in the office, schedule some time and we can get you set up on the equipment. Do you have to use the equipment? It really depends. It depends on your role on Election Day. We do want everyone to be familiar with the equipment in case we need to bounce people around, and I think you'll find that the equipment is actually quite easy to use once you've experienced it and worked with it a little bit. The equipment has all passed safety and security testing to make sure that it is safe from hacking, or as safe as we can possibly make it. And remember, there are always audit trails and paper backups of everything we're doing on Election Day. To learn more, we're going to have you continue to watch the rest of the videos, and then again attend an optional capstone session or come in and practice on the equipment on your own. So with that, I always leave with contact information for you. I hope you enjoy the next series of videos to orientate you to the equipment and then actually see how it's going to be operated on Election Day. I think after you watch those, you'll feel very comfortable with the equipment, and we'll look forward to having you use it on Election Day. Thank you.